Given the vector field, let's evaluate the line integrals for each of the parabolic curves. In this example, let's first graph each of these two paths. And let's first consider path C1. The parametric equations for path C1 are that x is equal to 4 minus t and y is equal to 4t minus t squared. Now, we can remove the parameter to get this curve in rectangular form by solving for t in this first parametric equation to get t is equal to 4 minus x, and then substituting that into the second equation, which is y is equal to 4t minus t squared, and we put that 4 minus x in for t. And when we simplify this, we get the equation of a parabola opening down with x-intercepts at 4, 0 and 0, 0, and a vertex point up at 2, 4. Now, in our initial conditions, we were told that the value of t should go only from 0 to 3. When t is equal to 0, we have an x-coordinate of 4 and a y-coordinate of 0. When t is equal to 3, we have 4 minus 3 as the x-coordinate, which is 1, and 12 minus 9, which is the y-coordinate, and that's 3. So let's adjust our graph a little bit so that it starts at the ordered pair 4, 0, and travels around the curve in this direction until it gets to the terminating point, which is at 1, 3. And this is our path C1. Path 2 is traced out by the vector function r sub 2, and from this vector function we can get the parametric equations, which are that x is equal to t and y is equal to 4t minus t squared. We can easily remove the parameter by plugging in x for the t values, and we get the rectangular equation 4x minus x squared, and this is the exact same parabola. But we need to see if we get the same section of that parabola by imposing the limits on the parameter. So let's plug in t is equal to 1 and t is equal to 4. When t is equal to 1, we get the ordered pair 1 for x and 3 for y. When t is equal to 4, we get the ordered pair where x is equal to 4 and y is equal to 16 minus 16, which is 0. So we make some adjustments to the graph, but in this case, we're actually going to be moving around in the opposite direction, but the path itself is exactly the same. So since path C1 is the same as path C2 but traveling in the opposite direction, we can actually calculate the work done on just one of those paths, and then we'll be able to take a shortcut and say that the work done along path C2, since it's in the opposite direction, is going to be the same work except for being opposite in sign. So we need only to calculate one line integral. And let's select path C1. In order to calculate the line integral, first we need to get our force vector function to be a function of the parameter t, and we do that essentially by plugging the parametric equations for the position vector into the force vector function. So this is my parametric equation for x, and this is the parametric equation for y. Our first component is just y, so we're plugging in 4t minus t squared, the parametric equation for y. The second component of our force field vector function is x squared. Well, x was 4 minus t, so we'll be squaring that quantity. Now our force vector field function depends only on t, and then the next thing that we need to do is find the r prime t vector function. Remember, we're working with the r1 vector function, so let's actually call that r1 prime t. And the derivative of this vector is going to be negative 1, and then 4 minus 2t. And the next thing that we need to do is to find the dot product of these two vectors. So we have 4t minus t squared times negative 1, which is negative 4t minus t squared. And then to that, we're going to add this entire trinomial times 4 minus 2t. And when we distribute and combine like terms, this is the integrand that we'll bring forward. And this line integral is going to be evaluated from 0 to 3 with respect to t. And we have a nice polynomial here. And we'll evaluate this antiderivative from 0 to 3. And then we plug in the upper limit to this antiderivative. The lower limit of 0 plugged into the antiderivative is just going to be 0, which simplifies down to being 69 halves, which is the value of this line integral along path C1. So then we can say that along path C2, this line integral must be negative 69 over 2.